Good afternoon on this auspicious day. We got great weather today, and I'm really pleased to welcome Collin Morikawa to the interview room. Collin, two-time major champion, coming out this year as #1 strokes gained tee to green, so obviously playing very well. You finished in the top 10 the last 3 years. What do you attribute your success to?
Honestly, I think it's just getting comfortable. You know, I tried to convince myself the first time I played in 2020 that you can come out here and essentially tackle this golf course of what it is. And I think I shouldn't have tried to do that. You know, I think the more reps you get in, the more you understand this golf course, how you play it, and how you fit it into your game, right? Everyone always talks about this is a certain type of golfer's the way to play this golf course and attack it. But I've found a way, I think, in the past few years of how to kind of dissect this golf course and really use my strengths, especially with irons and the undulating greens, to take that to my advantage and hopefully give myself a lot of looks.
Wonderful. Open it to questions. Dan?
I know you're not a huge golf history buff, but have you thought ever about the career Grand Slam? I mean, you're halfway, and obviously Rory's in here and he gets asked about it, but is that something that's on your radar?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think, let's see, I've been in the lead at the Masters last year. I mean, a few years ago, even at Brookline, I mean, I think I was leading through 36. Yeah, it creeps in. I mean, if it doesn't creep in, then you really don't care. You know, for me, you care, so you want to know, and you want to put yourself in these positions. It doesn't always work out, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely something you want to try and accomplish. I do fully know how hard it is, but it's not like, you know, one of them I haven't played well. Like I've been close, so it's just keep knocking out the door.
Chris?
Collin, over here. Sorry.
Oh.
Sorry in advance for bringing up a little bit of a sore subject, but your comments at the players on, you know, you don't know the media, anything, got a lot of attention, a lot of criticism that you seemed upset by. The conversation around that whole situation was, oh, professional golfers in comparison to other athletes from other sports are soft or sensitive when dealing with criticism. Do you think that's a fair or unfair assessment?
It's an interesting way to put that question. I'll answer it in a few pieces. So one, I was not upset by it. I think everyone took it in a wrong direction. You know, I said it in my second media thing. I could have said it differently, but I stand by what I said, right? You know, like I was in the moment. You know, we talk about giving people space to be who they are. And at that time, it was for me to be who I was. And I didn't want to be around anyone. I didn't even want to be around my wife. Like I said hi to her after, we hugged. And I just went straight to the locker room, right? So in that aspect, I'm not, I think there needs to be a balance and an ebb and flow between everything, right? I do want to be here for you guys, but here's the thing. I've been in the top 5 in the world before, and people don't come up to me and ask me questions. So if you guys, you can't just ask me when I'm playing well. Like you guys should be asking the top 10 players every single week, every single day, and just document it, Then you get a sense of who we are and you get a flow of how that comes to be, right? But if you're only asking me, look, I've been in the top 5 for however long, in my career. I mean, there's plenty of times where media doesn't ask me. So there's a balance, right? If you guys don't want to ask me, then it's not my job to go out and tell you my story. Sometimes it is, right? But you do that through social media. You do that through playing well, winning tournaments. But not everyone's like that. So that's what I don't get, this whole, So I stand by what I said.
Do you read comments on social media at all?
I mean, I browse, but I don't live and die by them.
Next question, Doug.
First of all, going back to what Dan said, why aren't you a history buff?
I don't know. It's just not really my thing. I think some guys love it, and I appreciate it, but it's just not, I know where things stand and that. I just never got into it. I always like kind of the present stuff and what's going on today.
You know who won the '86 Masters? Let's move on.
No. I was looking at the board in the gym today. I was looking at how many times the years Jack won it when he was spreading that out. I was really hoping you would give me like seven. I think you wanted like 72, 76, around there. I would have said that.
75, 86.
Oh, yeah. Good.
Well done.
Good.
I'm good. How you doing?
Oh, it's so good to see.
Played as good of golf as one can play without winning a tournament. Should have won the Tour Championship were it not for his starting strokes. Does that come with a sort of an added pressure, or is it more of, look, I'm due, I just got to get the right set of breaks, and eventually I'm going to win?
Yeah, I mean, I said it even going up into Zozo. Like, at that time, I had not won, and my game was not feeling as good as it does now. For me, I know it's going to happen. It's not like I'm never going to win. I mean, hold on. This is wood, right? I believe it's going to happen, right? And I don't want to just win once. Like, you want to go on a run. You hear, like, JT, I think, talked about it at the end of last year, earlier this year. It's like you want to go on a type of run that Scotty has. And I believe that. You know, whether it happens or not, so be it. But I fully believe that in myself, that I can do that. It's just, you just got to keep doing what I'm doing, right? I'm not searching for anything new. A couple putts drop, a couple shots hit a little bit closer. That's how you win golf tournaments, right? I mean, sometimes you blow away the field, and those are great. But it's the ones where you're in the grind that you just need essentially one shot on that Sunday to go your way. And that sometimes flips the switch. And I think I've been a little bit too much in cruise control. Sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad, right? And I think you have to learn what type of player you are. You know, I like when things are elevated a lot, you know, just because it gets my focus in a lot more. Sometimes when it's just a little bit too mellow, I just sink in a little bit, and you know, that's on me.
Brody?
You were always pretty open. You know, there was kind of like a 2-year stretch where you weren't fully confident in your swing, and obviously now you are in such a good place. Is there anything that maybe you learned about how to handle right now from that year, those years where it wasn't as confident?
Well, I think you always have to be ready on Thursday. I always talk about that. I always say that, like, no matter how your prep is, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, like, you just have to be ready to play golf on Thursday. And I think I take a lot of that out of those last few years where things weren't good, but then you just play with what you have. And I think we've played golf long enough where you could figure that out, right? It's just, okay, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. A lot of us are perfectionists. I am, but you have to learn how to get out there and just say, okay, you know, I'm going to hit this shot and just make do.
Dan?
I've seen a lot of players play really, really good golf and then change a lot in their golf game, whether it's, you know, a swing coach. I wanted to ask you, because you had your swing coach, and then you went to another swing coach, and then you went back. How do you balance that never-ending urge to get better with not trying to change what's already working?
It's really tough. It's really, really tough, because we're always searching for new answers. We're searching for a new way to hear it. But, you know, I can't always say, like, oh, you know, go back to the old. You know, I think a lot of us be like, oh, yeah, you know, if I could pick this out of my 2019 game and then pick this out of 2020 and do that from 2021, I'd be the best golfer in the world. Well, it doesn't work like that, right? Life moves on. Like, your body moves on. You as a player moves on. You keep playing more tournaments. You get a lot more mature that way. But there also comes, you know, a lot more scar tissue. And a lot of veterans talked about that when I came out. It's like, or you talk about that with any young player, right? It's like they don't have scar tissue. Scar tissue might not be the right word, but it's just, you have more experience, and sometimes experience is good and sometimes it's bad. So when you're searching for these answers, I don't think I'll ever find, like, the right answer and how to be that, because my body just keeps changing, right? Every day you wake up, and that's why golf's so hard, because you're hitting so many types of shots, and it's never in a vacuum that you just don't know if it's actually what you're doing, right? It's all just kind of feels and guesses. So it's, you know, it's a never-ending search. I mean, you're gonna continue to do it because you want to get better. But what I realized through that little process was, you know, I could have all the answers, but once again, I've got to go play golf. Like, playing golf is the most important part, and that creativity, I think a lot of people have lost, or that's just not how they play golf.
Adam?
Paint me a picture, if you would, of the difference in how you felt coming here last year versus how you feel this year and why it's different.
Yeah, I mean, I think last year, I mean, like I said, I just sat on the range. You know, I was searching for hopefully a consistent ball flight to where, you know, if I aimed at the middle of the green, I wasn't going to miss it 10 times left, 20 times right, and just had no clue. But it's the same as like Hawaii, right? Hawaii at the beginning of the year, I had a lot of good practice and a lot of good work that I did at the off season, and I showed up. But I hadn't played a tournament for, you know, essentially 2.5 months. It's similar in that way to where I've come to the realization is no matter how good you feel, it does not mean you're going to play well. But you have to go out there and put what you have into a full game plan for Thursday through Sunday, right? So when I am playing well and I am feeling good, I can kind of narrow in that game plan, and you can attack a few more pins. You can be a little more aggressive on certain shots that you have. You feel a little bit more free out there. It doesn't mean you're going to play good, but you have to execute the shots, but you feel like you can execute them. You know, last year, there was a guess on whether I could execute them. I did for, 65 holes roughly, but sometimes it catches up to you.
Difficult, or I don't know if difficult's the word, but how was it to have to call Rick and say, I want to get back together?
Yeah, it was never an easy, I left him for the first time, right? This was end of 23, right around the Ryder Cup. And, for me, started working with Blackburn, you go and win, you just think things are, here we go, right? And then early on in the year, not playing great, get through Bay Hill, get through players, like miscut at Bay Hill in a short field. Players, I'm sitting on the back of the range, and I think sometimes you think you need more answers when you look back and you realize, you just go back to the basics and you just start fresh. It's really hard to do that. It's really hard to take 2 steps back. I don't think a lot of guys could admit that, they've taken 2 steps backwards. We always talk about that, but to actually do it and say, okay, yes, I like where I'm at or I don't like where I'm at, but I'm really going to take 2 steps backwards. And that's what I had to do. I had to start from the very basics of what we've done since I've been 8, essentially. I'm maybe not that young, but my golf game into college, and say, okay, what are the pieces we're going to not rebuild, but just fit back together, right? And kind of piece together and layer one on top of another. And the only way to do that is to essentially take 2 steps back.